Okay, so take a moment. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different substances. So this is a great 6-mark question, or maybe lots of little questions. So in a revision card, you want to be able to ask yourself, what are the substances transported around the human body? And you want to come up with at least 6 or 7 if you include human hormones to that as well. Okay, now let's move on and let's have a look at this gas exchange system where oxygen and carbon dioxide are exchanged in our body. In the attachments, I've included this diagram. If you can't print it, a sketch diagram would be good. What I'd like you to do is first try, if you want a big challenge, is label this without looking at the labels. If you get stuck, go on to the next part of the video where I've got a list of keywords that you can use to help you. Once you've made a good go at that, then purple pen your worksheet. So here are all the labels. Okay, 1 or 2 slightly tricky ones, like the soft palate that's at the top of my mouth. We've got the larynx, that's your voice box. Your diaphragm it's almost a very thin sheet that separates your thorax, which is your chest, from your abdomen, where your small intestines and stomach and liver is found. Okay, and you can use this to purple pen your answers. Now, in a process called plastination, if we could put a chemical into all the blood vessels in your body and then take everything else away, this is what your lungs look like. Isn't it amazing, the amount of blood vessels all to pick up that oxygen and take it around the body? And actually, you can see the trachea branching into the bronchi, and then you can see the bronchioles, and at the end of those bronchioles there'll be loads and loads of alveoli. And scientists have worked out, if they took all those alveoli, all those microscopic balloons that make the lungs feel really, really spongy, if you've seen a model or a plaque of the lungs, the reason why it is so spongy is because of all of these tiny alveoli. And if I had to take all those alveoli and unwrap them and put them flat, they would be the equivalent of an entire tennis court. That's mind-blowing. That shows how brilliantly our lungs are designed by the shape of the alveoli, increasing the surface area for gas exchange. And on each alveoli, with all these little folds, remember in biology, anytime you see a fold, it's to increase the surface area. And surrounding each of these 500 million alveoli in one lung, there are all of these blood vessels all ready to pick up that oxygen that moves into the alveoli, which then diffuses from a high concentration in the alveoli into a low concentration into the capillary, to take that oxygen back to the heart to then be pumped around the rest of the body. So I mentioned this word already. Let's see if you could answer this. If the role of the alveoli is to exchange gases with the blood capillaries, by which process does this occur? Can you remember the name of the process? Well done. Diffusion. Diffusion. And I hope you can remember this. This is a very important keyword from topic 1. Don't let diffusion cause you confusion. The particles go from high to low. So it's the movement of particles from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. Okay, that's my TikTok. Remember, osmosis is the movement of water from an area of high concentration to low concentration through a semi-permeable membrane. There you go. That's my contribution to TikTok. Okay, so there's no membrane involved that it's moving through at this point, and although there's no water involved. So this has got to be diffusion, therefore. So really, our body is one incredible grand design. And this would be, if I looked inside the capillaries are a single cell thick. So the oxygen's just got to go through between the walls of those cells to get into the hole inside of the capillary, which we call the lumen, to then be transported around our body. So again, another part of this grand design. Now, what I want you to do in your books, we're going to think about the structure of the alveoli and the lungs, and how the structure helps it to become such an efficient, amazing exchange system. So the first thing you're going to write down, and you might want to go through all of these first and then pause the video and copy it. We know that there's a large number of alveoli. We said 500 million per lung. And the reason for this is it creates that large surface area for gas exchange. Now, your alveoli have also got a very moist lining, a moist surface. And this is important because the gases first need to dissolve across that lining to get to the capillaries. In addition, the alveoli lining themselves are only one cell thick. Now this is really important because I want to get the oxygen around my body quickly, and if I have to go through many layers, that's going to delay the time it takes for that. So it makes the alveoli permeable, and it creates a short distance for diffusion to take place, making it quicker. The lining of the capillaries are also only one cell thick, again to create that short diffusion distance. Permeable means it just allows it through nice and easily. And we also need a really good supply, and we know that we have that. And what this is going to do is this is going to maintain that concentration gradient, the high concentration of oxygen in the lungs, the low concentration of oxygen in the capillaries, to help that diffusion gradient, so it can go from a higher to a lower concentration gradient. Note how I use higher and lower. It's always good to use it as a comparison. So ER words is what we're looking for there. Okay, this brings us to an end. You can pause and copy this out, and the final thing we're going to do is look at some important keywords we have mentioned to get the top grades for these sections. So on this list is many of the keywords we've mentioned. If there's any that you don't think you will be able to recall or use in the exam, I'd like you to copy it down at the end of your notes. If you know what it is, that's fine. But if it's not quite in your long-term memory, just write down the word and the definition, and there's a lovely pronunciation help there as well. Good work. Take care.